Alright, hello and welcome to this video tutorial. Today we're going to be discussing facial topology, obviously, of your character, this little carrot guy here. So this is a really cute character. I'm definitely digging a lot of the design that's going on. Your big issue is mainly the fact that within your face you are setting a grid pattern, meaning the lines are going up and down, left and right. I'm sure you know what a grid looks like, rather than a circular pattern. So the way that the face is set up to move, it moves a lot more easily. Sorry, let me just check that I'm recording. Yes. The face is set up to deform around major facial features. For example, your nose, your mouth, and your eyes. As a result, you're going to be working in circle patterns around said facial features. If you look at some anatomy drawings, you'll also notice that muscles are shaped similarly, which is why we fashion facial topology the same way. So while I'm definitely digging your design ideas, the concept overall is a very, it's adorable. It's a really cute one, but it's not going to deform very well. So once you start moving things around, it's going to get some awkward creases, and it's just not going to move as well as you would like it to. So let me see where to start. Another big issue that you have is you have lines that end up going to nowhere. So, excuse me. You have lines like this one that disappear off into the middle of a face. So I'm going to be editing this in Blender. You can see up here. You can find it online if you'd like to download it. It's a free software. I tend to prefer it as far as modeling goes to Maya. It's just a little bit easier to use user interface wise. It's just a lot more user friendly, but all of the tools that I'm going to be using will or can also be found in Maya, so you use whatever makes you comfortable. I would recommend doing modeling in Blender, but that's just me. Again, it's personal preference. So just don't be weirded out by the layout. So an important rule to keep in mind whenever you're modeling is to try to stick to simple shapes. So many people, when they're creating fabrics or cloth simulation, they tend to work in triangles, which works very well. Also for sort of higher resolution characters, sometimes they work in triangles, but then you want to make sure that you're being consistent throughout the majority of your character. In this one, I see that you have mostly mostly squares, rectangles, four-sided figures all throughout your character, but then you get some awkward shapes like this one, which is obviously not four-sided. It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 question mark, and then you have a couple of five-sided ones here. You want to usually stick to either quads or three-line shapes. Triangles is the word I'm looking for. I'm sorry, it's been a long day. So we're gonna start actually by clearing this section here. I'm a liar. Actually, what I'm gonna do, I'm going to delete half of this character. I see that down at the bottom you have some roots that are not symmetrical, which is okay. It's just gonna make it a lot easier for tutorial purposes to be working on half a character, because as you can see, I'm going to be setting a mirror modifier so that on the other side you can see what the character looks like when it's in full view versus a vertice view. So there's your character all whole again, and we're just going to be editing the right side of the face, or his left, our right, whatever. So now I'm going to delete this shape, and I'm actually going to take out the center bit too. So we have this nice opening there, and we're going to move some of these vertices around, so we're going to get a tighter circle around the eye. And we're going to connect that to this vertex down here. We're going to subdivide that so we get another vertex in there. Oops, excuse me. Just so we can connect it to the eye socket. There, and now we have a nice circle going along the majority of that, and we'll touch up these corners a little later. But, let me see, I'm actually going to hide the back half of this just so I don't accidentally select anything. Oops. Just so I don't select anything by accident. So that's still there, just hidden when editing. It should be hidden. Yeah, sorry. Oh, I see. And I'm sorry, when I move this face over, it connected the eye sockets, and that's going to give us some problems. So there we go. And again, I'm just going to hide that since we're not really touching it for now. So now we can see more clearly our workspace. I'm going to go ahead and also clear these vertices. Right there. So you're left with the basic mouse shape, and as well as the vertices surrounding just the lips. So now you're left obviously with just the lips. Your big issue here is the fact that the corners of your mouth are not connected. So you want to go ahead and connect those. So you get a nice solid shape surrounding the lips. So once you've got that, you can start extruding vertices. I'm going to take this top three, extrude them upwards. I'm going to start shaping them into a nice curve around the mouth. Go ahead and extrude the corners, just following the basic line of the mouth. Excuse me, there we go. And also extrude the bottom three. So now you can see we're working in not a circle pattern, but we're moving outwards in sort of a rounder shape rather than the grid pattern that you had going on earlier. So we're going to keep going with this pattern, always extending out in a circle form, or not circle, but you know what I mean, I hope. Also take these bottom three. There we go. So you can see we're getting a nice smooth look around the mouth. I'm not going to move that around too much just right now because I'm really zoomed in. It's going to do funny things to my display, but you can see we're keeping the original shape of the mouth while kind of getting a better topology overall. You have kind of a lot of vertices happening here. I would also take away a few of those. I would actually do this with the eye socket visible, just so you make sure that you get everything in there. But for tutorial purposes, again, I'm not going to be dealing with that too much. So now that we have this connected, I'm going to create a couple of loop cuts. Just so we can, connect the mouth to the eye socket. Again, down here you've got too many vertices happening at once in kind of a grid pattern, so we're going to go ahead and remove those as well as this vertex here. So important thing to note, come on, there we go. Okay, gonna leave that. Important thing to note, since you're working in circle patterns, obviously that's not going to mesh up all the time. So it's an important thing to keep in mind that while you should stick to quads rather than more sides, it is okay for vertices to have, instead of 4 lines coming out of it, have 5. So we're going to go ahead and continue to extrude these to build that circular shape around the eye. And then when you see that it's going to start lining up with what you should be seeing here in the center, like this, you're left with an awkward space like this. So again, while this has 4 lines coming out of it, it's all right to add a 5th one coming out to the center, and that's going to give you a nicer shape overall. And it connects quite cleanly to the rest of the carrot. Go ahead and move some of these out, just to get a rounder shape going. There we go. And so now that we have that happening, we want to start to connect the mouth to the rest of the face. So I'm going to go ahead and connect that to the eye socket. And here we have a couple of choices. We can, just like we did down here, mesh this circle to a more grid-like layout, meaning that we're going to set a circle into a grid. Or we can continue circling outwards. Probably your cleanest option here is to allow the circle to slowly become a grid. So we're going to go ahead and add a quad there. One there. And then 2 more here and here. And what that means is that you have your circle pattern happening, but it's going to line up a lot better with the overall composition of your model. Go ahead and extrude that out. Add some quads there. And now we come to another issue, which is once we have this extruded, you have a flat line which is facing 3 lines, rather right here. So one option would be to completely fill this space. But you don't want to do that because then again you're going to have lines disappearing off into nowhere, and once you start deforming, it's going to lead to some issues. So instead what we're going to do is we're going to add some loop cuts, one here and one there. And that way we've just turned this one line into 3. And we can go ahead and add our mouth in there. And there you go. And now you can see there's no awkward lines like we saw earlier. It just overall is getting a much smoother look to it, and it's going to help when deformation comes into play. All right, so now we can start working on the upper section, I guess the bridge of where the nose would be, going up into the forehead of the character. So you can go ahead and extrude that out. Hold on. I'm sorry, I'm wrong. What you don't want to do here is have the center line splitting 2 different directions. Whenever you have a center line going, I tend to find it best to have that connected throughout. So for example, if you have this block down here going on, then it should continue downwards. So let me show you what I mean. Instead of connecting it here, we're going to, like we did earlier, extrude this out so this is 5 lines as opposed to the 4. And go ahead and extrude that out. So we get a nice quad working there, and that way we can continue. Oops. Come on. I'm sorry, my mouse is terrible. Go ahead and continue this line down throughout the center of the face. Go ahead and extrude that. Connect there. Sorry, extrude that out. Connect there. And again, we're faced like we were earlier with a single line versus 3. So we're going to go ahead and add some loop cuts. And again, this wouldn't have worked earlier if we hadn't split up this area right there. So we're going to go ahead and attach those now. And just to get it a kind of smoother look, once that's done, you're going to add at least one other loop cut right there, maybe more or less depending on what you want. So now you can go ahead and smooth out this area right here. I'm actually going to use the smoothing tool in Blender. There we go. So that's going to just add a slightly smoother shape to the face. But I'm not sure what they have in Maya. I'm not even sure if I'm pronouncing that right. Is it Maya or Maya? Regardless, there's tools that you can use. You can even manually go ahead and fill this area out a little bit. Nope. There we go. And I'm sorry, I put replacement eyeballs in there in place of the nerves. But now we have smoother topology throughout the face, and it's going to help when you start when you start moving bits around. It's not going to come apart or have awkward creases when you start deforming. So now, just to finish up, we're going to take care of some awkwardness over here. While you do have a quad happening there, it's a bit of an awkward one because you are breaking the circle of the eye. So we're going to go ahead and remove that edge as well as that vertex. And also remove these vertices. I'm going to go ahead and continue the grid formation here. Go ahead and, what are we doing here? Oh, I see. Yeah, we're just going to go ahead and add that there, and then have that going there. If you need to smooth that out, I would again add a loop cut rather than an awkward shape. And just move that out a little bit, and you can fill out the circle, which is going to get sort of a nicer shape than you had going. Again, you have something disappearing off into nowhere, so we're going to go ahead and fix up this area here. Again, you have a V section rather than a smooth circle, so we're going to go ahead and take care of that. How do we, okay. Move that down there. I'm sorry, proportional editing turned on. Go ahead and move that down there. That's there. There we are. And I would loop cut there again. Go ahead and add a face. Face. And here you can choose to either take away this section here and just merge these two vertices, or you can just add a square. It's not gonna do horrible things to your topology, seeing it's the very, very corner of your eye, and you do have a rather simple character going. If you're ever experimenting with more complex characters, higher poly, then I would definitely recommend extending these circles as far out as they can go. It's just going to make it a lot easier on you in the long run when it comes to deforming. But overall, there is your little carrot guy. And I would go ahead and apply the modifier, but again, I don't know if you want to do that just for the face, seeing as your roots are asymmetrical, but you are good to go as far as animation. So that's about it. Best of luck to you, and if I can help you out in some other way, let me know. Thanks. Bye.